Tax season is upon us, and whether you're a first-time filer or a seasoned pro, understanding the latest deductions, knowing deadlines, and having a solid game plan can make the difference between maximizing your tax refund and leaving money on the table. Joining us with insider tips on the best ways to navigate tax season and tools to help maximize your tax refund is Credit Karma's consumer financial advocate, Courtney Alev. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the IRS has officially opened tax season. What can consumers do to prepare ahead of April 15th?
We know that tax season can be a very stressful time for many people. And we know a lot of people out there are procrastinating even getting started on their taxes. What you want to do is get organized and make a plan. Grab that W-2, grab any of those tax forms you might have coming in the mail, any receipts. Make a special place in your email inbox for any of those electronic forms. It's going to really save you time. If you're expecting a tax refund this year, the earlier that you get that filing in, the earlier you're going to get that money back in your pocket. No matter what you're expecting this tax season, it's a great idea to get started today if you haven't already.
And what if you're not able to meet that April 15th deadline? What are the next steps?
If you're worried about being able to make that April 15th deadline, you really want to go apply for an extension with the IRS. Just make sure to do that before April 15th. Even though you'll have until October 15th to file your taxes, you're still going to need to make any estimated payments on what you might owe by April 15th. One other thing to keep in mind is if you or someone you know has been affected, living in an area that's been affected by the many natural disasters that we have had in recent months, such as the wildfires in California, you might actually already be qualified for an extension. So you can check out the IRS website for more information.
And there are so many filing tools and options out there. How can consumers determine the best option for them?
Maybe you enjoy or at least tolerate doing your taxes by yourself. There's great DIY options available. But many Americans don't necessarily feel confident doing taxes on their own. They're worried about making a mistake and just really want a human to help them. And in that case, you can have a tax expert either help you along the way or even hand off your taxes completely. If you're filing with Credit Karma or TurboTax, they can match you with a qualified tax professional regardless of your personal financial or tax situation, and they can give you whatever that level of support is that you want, whether it's just answering questions here and there or really doing your taxes on your behalf. But no matter what you choose, it's important to remember that there are free filing options available to you online.
Now, what variables should we consider when it comes to deductions and maximizing tax refunds?
We know that 37% of Americans depend on that refund to make ends meet. And if you're worried about trying to maximize that refund, the good news is that these online tools or the experts that you work with will help. They'll be asking you questions to make sure that they understand every potential deduction or every potential credit that you are qualified for to make sure that you get your best possible outcome. But the really important thing to remember is that the tax refund can be a great opportunity to really get your year off to a good start financially. It is so easy to let that check burn a hole in your pocket, but I really advise people to earmark 10%, maybe 20% maximum towards something fun or treating yourself or your family, and then put the rest towards your financial goals. Or maybe you could use it to build an emergency fund or build up that cash cushion.
And how can taxpayers find out if they owe money or if they'll be receiving a refund before submitting their tax return?
There are a lot of free online tools, such as through TurboTax or Credit Karma, where you can estimate the size of your refund or the size of your bill. That allows you to either make a plan for how to use that refund to best put towards your financial goals, or it gives you more time to figure out how you're going to pay that tax bill.
And we all want to avoid those common pitfalls. What is the biggest mistake people make when doing their taxes?
The biggest mistake people make are just the most common and simplest ones, which is simply maybe misspelling a name, putting in the wrong number in your social security number, doing wrong math. Online tax softwares make it way easier to avoid making these mistakes. They're going to do the math for you. They'll highlight if it seems like maybe you made an error. If you're filing with Credit Karma or TurboTax, you could even take a picture of your tax form and it'll pull all that data right into your tax return, so you don't need to type in individually, manually every single form.
And where can we go for more information?
You can download the Credit Karma app or visit creditkarma.com.
Courtney, we thank you so much for these important tips to help us conquer tax season like a champ.
Thank you.
And we thank you for joining us on San Diego Living. We'll see you next time.